Hi guys, I'm Adam McCarthy of SSA Athletics, and today we're going to answer the question, is the false start rules broken?
Officials are saying, look, there is the red card, I'm sorry you can't take part in the race.
In athletics, anything above 0.01 thousandths of a second is considered a false start. Now we saw the likes of Devon Allen at 0.99 and Gavers of the Bahamas 0.993 reaction time. Now when it comes to reaction time, you have to have a barrier somewhere. There has to be a cut-off point, 0.00, 0.001. Otherwise you will not be able to know what is a false start. And to many people, they're under the misconception a false start to them may be starting before the gun's gone off. And in layman's term, yes. In theory, the barrier is there to indicate that when a gun goes off, this is the time it should take roughly for an athlete to then start sprinting. So in theory, you can potentially react to the gun and still be disqualified. Although it's blimmin' difficult to do so. Now, many people are under the impression that false starting means starting before the gun, and correct in a way. But the 0.1 barrier is merely an indication of the gun going off and the average reaction time once someone's heard that gun goes off. Now, when it comes to reaction time, what actually is a reaction time? Reaction time is how quickly you react to something, yes, but that's not entirely accurate. Reaction time is how you react to the stimulus that then goes through your nervous system and your brain telling your body what to do, and then you actually moving. When you hear the stimulus to you at the point of reaction is referred to as a lag time. The delay of you reacting from the stimulus to you moving. And it is possible for someone to be quick, have a quick reaction time in other stimuluses, but generally a slow lag time. And what we can do is work and improve their lag time in order to improve their overall reaction time. But that video is really for another day. When looking at why it's 0.1 seconds reaction time barrier, we need to look at two particular studies. The first study, and I apologise to the author, Tonisen et al. The first study by this Finnish group of researchers looked at 8 Finnish non-elite athletes to look at what their average reaction time was. Now their average reaction time was 0.121 second, which is slower than the World Athletics barrier. Now there are many flaws with this study. First of all, they used only 8 athletes, and you can't really do cross comparisons to other researchers or other cultures. And no offence to the authors, this was a brand new study when it came out, but in modern day terms, this study is old. It came out in the 1990s. If that study is old, and I'm a 90s kid, does that mean I'm old? This study came out before the truly professional era of track and field athletics, meaning that we can't really compare this to elite runners, and certainly potentially not necessarily elite runners of the modern day, who are used to being judged by this type of analysis on their sprint starts. They're used to being able to sprint start from these certain type of blocks, and it's justifiably possible that they will have better reaction times than those athletes in the 90s. We've also got to take into account that the conditions for the tests weren't under racing conditions. We've also got to take into account that everyone on the planet is built differently. Yes, there might be an advantage reaction time wise if you're shorter and stockier, but this is probably a dead end in a dark alley. Anyone can have a quick reaction time, regardless of their height. But likewise, we don't get this from this research. We've only got 8 individuals, so we can't really cross-compare them against other people of different heights, different sizes. Payne 2007 looked at every single criterion of what makes a false start. Total time for them to react is within 0.8 seconds. This is faster than the World Athletics barrier, meaning that if we take this lag time factors into account, an athlete could potentially sprint from 0.9. That in order to run a 0.9 reaction time is exceedingly difficult.
Now getting to that 2009 study, the crazy thing about all this is this was actually a project that was started by the IAAF. So they directly wanted to ask the question of whether or not that 100 millisecond limit was still appropriate. So again, a group in Finland, this time using elite sprinters, basically repeated some of these studies to see if the 100 millisecond threshold was still appropriate. And they found, no, it's not. The final recommendation here was that the IAF should abandon the 100 millisecond minimum sprint reaction time, and it should be lowered to 80 or 85 milliseconds. The results of the study said change it, and yet we still haven't changed it. This article was even published on the World Athletics website.
But let's not beat around the bush. The 0.1 second barrier is there for a reason, and these rules are put into place to prevent unfair advantage.
Using a new timing system, the number of reaction times between 100 milliseconds and 110 milliseconds, this means it's 4 times greater than any other world championship in history. The number of reaction times between 90 milliseconds and 99 milliseconds is greater than all other world championships combined. What this means is that we are seeing equipment being used that is so advanced, that is so hypersensitive, incredibly world-class reaction times.
That is so marginal, it would have been impossible to determine with the naked eye.
But it's very much clear we are lacking research. Generally with scientific research, you have a load of papers, some good, some bad. They have to go through a process of becoming published. Some of them are so rubbish they don't even get published. And eventually you get a good quality core of papers that someone can then write a review of those papers. And that way you have a sound scientific body of literature. Now it could very well be we do have a lot of research papers, but because they were very poor research papers, they were unpublished. And that's the reason why we only really have 2 research papers involving full starts regarding track and field athletics. Science often informs science. And in order to have that thing to inform you, you need a problem. And you need to come up with a solution to that problem. Full starts and finding the averages of full starts is something that people generally think is a set in stone averages. It's not necessarily a problem that needs solving. From a biomechanist's point of view and a sports statistician's point of view, there's far much more interesting and niche things to research than just full starts that could give you a good, rich level of data. But guys, let me know, is the full start rules broken? Or are they just perfectly just fine? Place your comments down below. Subscribe and check out all our socials and website. I'm Adam Carthy of USA Athletics, and as always, I will see you, unless I full start, in the next one.